Spider-Man is definitely one of Marvel's most popular comics, and perhaps that's why we've seen and been free to embrace so many alternates of this superheroic character. Spider-Man is traditionally witty, charming, and intelligent, gaining his powers from a radioactive spider bite after undergoing a transformation. Sometimes, however, it isn't an obsession with his heroic deeds that cause the writing team to spin their yarns, but the darker obsession with transformation and the creepier, crawlier sides of Spider-Man's potential origins. In this list, we'll be turning away from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man of Earth 616 and looking at some creepy neighborhood Spideys from alternate Earths and realities. Warning, some of these alternates may disturb you. Number 10. Zombie Spider-Man. A scary alternates list is of course never complete without a trip to the Marvel Zombieverse. This series examines a world where all your favorite superheroes become infected and transform into ravenous zombies. A warning, only visit this part of the multiverse if you have an ironclad stomach and if you are a fan of gore. Even being a horror fan myself, I find it challenging to visit this universe as often as I need to do here at Top 10 Nerd. In this Marvel Zombieverse, Peter does not become a zombie right away, but when he does, he ends up devouring both MJ and Aunt May. This version of Spider-Man also saw him break and purposefully tear off limbs and shoot veins out of his arms as a substitute for webbing. Eep. Number 9. Symbiote Spider-Man. In the What If series Volume 2 Issue 4, we explore an alternate world where the Venom symbiote could not be stripped from Peter Parker by using a combo of magic and tech. In fact, it just stays bonded to him. Two pretty scary things happen to Peter Parker in this reality. He loses complete control of his mind and body as the symbiote bonds to him for good. He is drained of years of his life when the suit does spit him out. Oh, and when the symbiote does choose to relinquish Parker, it is only to possess Hulk, creating an even bigger, meaner, and greener problem. Did I mention that this alternate version of Spidey is also strong enough to take on the Hulk and even make him scared? Ultimate Symbiote Spider-Man is like scary strong. Number 8. Spiders-Man. We get this version of Spider-Man from the Vault of Spiders series. It introduces us to an alternate version of Spider-Man who was seemingly still with Gwen Stacy until an accident caused him to undergo a transformation. You may have guessed it from his name, but yes, he is a man made of spiders, which he believed somehow absorbed and withheld his consciousness after the accident, which he assumes actually caused his death. There is no Peter Parker, there is only spiders and the imprint he left on them. Number 7. Webslinger. In the series Avatar's The Covenant of the Shield, we see Peter's story told as though it were some gruesome fairy tale. Once a young boy fascinated with spiders, he ventured to the Webwood to learn all he could about them from a witch who resided there, known as the Widow of the Web. She granted him spider-like abilities with her teachings, but warned him not to use his abilities for his own interest. Don't do it. When the youth sees his abilities to protect his uncle from a thief, he is punished by the witch, transformed into a spider-like creature and burdened with protecting those in the forest, despite the fact that his form now terrifies all who live to see it. Sad face. Number 6. Dark Spider-Man. What happens when you combine Mac Gargan, aka the Scorpion, with the Venom symbiote and throw Norman Osborn in the mix? You get Dark Spider-Man. This disturbing alternate version of Spidey comes to us from the Dark Avengers, Hammer and Norman Osborn's alternate team of superheroes comprised mostly of villains. What makes Gargan so terrifying as Spider-Man? His complete lack of control. And if you are attached to your head or any other parts of your body, I would not advise you to get on Dark Spider-Man's bad side, as he has a tendency to completely devour anyone that gets in his way. Talk about Venom Unchained. Number 5. Spider-Man Doppelganger. What could possibly be scarier than an unchained, cannibalistic version of Spider-Man? How about an unchained version that has 6 arms? Created by Magus as part of a team of alternates to fight their goody two-shoes counterparts, Spider-Man Doppelganger is all the potentially evil parts of Peter Parker and Spider-Man thrown together. He also introduces us to something Spider-Man artists and writers are obsessed with when it comes to terrifying alternates of this character. You know, having multiple arms. Which, while probably handy, is also just creepy. Sorry about the pun. Number 4. Spider-Man Dark Reign. Taking a break from the visually terrifying versions of Spider-Man a la multiple arms and physical deformities, this version takes us down a more mentally disturbed path. If you're fans of Old Man Batman from the DC-verse, you might also be a fan of this version of Parker as well. This is, after all, Marvel's version, Old Man Spidey if you will. We find elderly Parker in a darker place. MJ has passed away from cancer, which was caused by her exposure to radiation as a result from being so close to Parker. Parker evidently is reeling with guilt from her death while also having been fired from his job at the local flower shop. Needless to say, he is not in a great place and has since retired from being Spider-Man. But when a strict authoritarian government and their police force known as the Rain pushes Parker too far, he takes up the mantle again. Parker imagines himself in his prime while he fights injustice in nothing but a Spider-Man mask and his underwear. The reason why this Parker is so terrifying is it makes readers have to deal with the idea of aging, of getting old, and how that affects both your mind and your body. Number 3. Man Spider. Back to being visually grotesque with none other than one of the grossest, Man Spider. He is half spider, half man, all monster. In the comics, this version of Spider-Man is often caused by Parker having his mutation altered into a more primal form. A sadder and equally terrifying exploration of this character also exists in the 1990s animated series. After being bitten by a radioactive spider, Parker continues to mutate into Man Spider, the monstrous version of the standard Spider-Man. What makes this version of him even worse? Poor Parker actually keeps some of his memories and emotive responses, reaching out to his loved ones only to have them flee in terror. Poor Man Spider. He just wants to be loved. Number 2. Spider-Carnage. Continuing with my love of the 1990s Spider-Man animated series, another scary alternate also lives there. Coming from the alternate Earth of 98311, this Spider-Man has a bit of a convoluted origin story. Spider-Carnage is one of 2 versions of Spider-Man who exist after Spider-Man is cloned. To begin with, this Spider-Man alternate already had an even more tragic life, losing both Uncle Ben and Aunt May. As a result, one of the versions bonds with the Carnage symbiote and goes on a murderous rampage, and hence Spider-Carnage is born. What happens to the other clone? They become Ben Reilly, aka Scarlet Spider. I am not sure which sometimes is more nonsensical, comics or their animated series. Number 1. PATTON. If you're not afraid of things that go bump in the night, you're about to be. This alternate is truly something out of a nightmare. It combines both grotesque, visual, and mental spooky stimuli all in one neat, gross package. This alternate comes to us from the Edge of Spider-Verse series. PATTON was a mostly harmless, creepy science nerd living with his abusive Uncle Ted and crushing/spying on his next door neighbor Sarah Jane. Until one day he was bitten by a radioactive spider. This gave him an enhanced sense of smell, the ability to shoot webs, and obsessive bloodlust. PARNEL transformed into something more terrifying than Man Spider, though he does have a similar look. Multiple eyes, multiple arms, multiple legs, and pincers to boot. The thing that makes him the most scary is not only is he a murderer, kidnapping other teens and devouring them, but he can also lay eggs inside people. Eek! Thanks for watching. I hope my fellow horror fans found at least a few of these Spideys scary. And if you are a fan of scary comic book stories, be sure to let me know some of your favorites in the comments below, be they Spider-Man related or otherwise. And before you head to the comments section, remember to give this video a like and this channel a sub on your way down there. Man, I am not going to be able to get some of these panels from the PATTON story out of my mind. Maybe throw some of Spider-Man's funniest moments in the comments below, just to help me and anyone else who got spooked, find some sleep tonight. Till next time, this has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube.